Good morning, Birthright Tribe. My name is Wala El Sheikh, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Birthright Africa. We are so thrilled to have you with us for our very first YouTube Live. And we got it in just in time on the last day of Black History Month, where we are celebrating with our theme, Black History Begins with Africa. So sit back and enjoy the virtual homecoming to Accra, Ghana. And stay tuned afterwards. You don't want to leave because we're going to have a fantastic conversation with our ambassadors, Andrews and KJ, who are coming to you live today from Accra, Ghana. And so sit back and take this immersive journey, learn some of our history, the connections between the diaspora and the continent, and where we are going in the future. See you on the other side.
Welcome to the Birthright Africa virtual homecoming. I'm Andrews.
And I'm KJ.
Wait a minute. No.
I'm
KJ.
And I'm Andrews.
And we're Birthright Africa ambassadors. We're so excited for this virtual homecoming where we're going to explore the motherland and take you to one of our favorite cities of Accra, Ghana.
Akwaba.
Let's do it. Yo, this sand is hot.
I know, right?
I'm like, when I moved here, nobody told me I was on the equator, you know? Like, man, I should have thought about that.
Definitely.
You were supposed to look out for me.
That's why I brought you the wood, so that you could stand on it, right?
But that's why.
At least that's life for now, you know?
Yeah.
So, ever since you got to Ghana, have you found yourself, like, which of the languages you want to speak?
I can't speak any of them. I speak a little, like 6 words of tree, and I want to learn Fanti, but they're very, you know, I think what I do now is I just speak English with a Ghanaian accent. Like everything is oh.
You know, we do that a lot too.
I know.
Oh, me, that's you, and all those kind of things. So it's also part of our language. So
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Awesome.
Thank you. I've always loved going to the beach. You know, I'm from California, so I represent for the West Coast, and it kind of feels surreal to be here in West Africa. But every time I stare against the ocean, my problems just suddenly feel like they're so small, and I feel in touch with the ancestors, and it's a surreal experience.
Coming back to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Center means a lot to me. Whenever I come here, it gives me a lot of reflection about how we as Ghanaians always feel about our country. It also brings back memories of how we've all fought for the independence of Ghana. Whenever I come here, the symbols around, in the way the center has been designed, the buildings, the markings on the structures, all of these brings back a lot of memories. When I take the structure here into consideration, it always brings back the memory of how he fought, but then he couldn't achieve all the goals that he wanted to achieve.
It's sort of incredible to be here at the Nkrumah Memorial and see that the women of the movement for Pan-Africanism, for decolonization, the connection to the civil rights movement, they were just as integral and impactful. So, it's like, it's not lost on me that I get to see Fatia Nkrumah's gravesite here, and to know that Dr. Nkrumah was close to Sister Du Bois, and these ideals that the diaspora has been connected for a much longer time than we've thought. It's not lost on me as well that I'm here. It just feels like everyone should be coming back home. I wish I would have come here when I was much younger. Maybe it would have changed my career trajectory, but that's actually what Birthright Africa is all about, is exposing youth from the ages of 13 to 30 to their ancestral homelands all over the continent, all over the motherland. Just one way in which we feel that we can help inspire the next generation of innovators, the next generation of Pan-Africanists, of creatives, of artists, of educators, so that they know this is home, so that they feel welcome. I just love coming here. This is one of the few places where I feel so connected both to my African and African American ancestry. We're at the W.E.B. Du Bois Cultural Center, a memorial place for Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, who actually lived out his last years and died and is buried here in Accra, Ghana. Reading, the souls of Black folks and just being familiar with his life since I was a kid, I was always fascinated by the fact that he helped in starting this Pan-African movement, this idea that since time has begun. And
For me, having the Black Americans come back to Ghana means a lot to me, because what I've realized is there's a lot of collaboration amongst us, and most of the time when we meet like this, we think about how we can move Africa forward.
Oh wow! I always wanted to be on an episode of MTV Cribs, but this Birthright Africa virtual homecoming is even better. As someone from the diaspora who's recently relocated, it's my pleasure to welcome you to my home. Well, it makes sense if we are doing a Birthright Africa virtual homecoming that at some point we'd come home. This is where I live, so welcome to my crib.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So what food do you like now that you're in Ghana?
Ooh, well, you actually took me to try some plantain and wache. It was my first time. I have to say, it's an acquired taste, and I really liked it.
Awesome.
I knew I liked kelewele. I definitely think Ghanaian jollof is the best jollof. I'm not so big on banku and fufu, but I'm getting there.
Oh my God, you're missing out on the most
I hear that.
delicious meals out there.
One thing I will say is that my quality of life here and the access to fresh foods, organic vegetables, I just, you can't really compare. And then the safety, and I just feel like I can leave my door unlocked. I can walk out any time of night. You don't really have these fears of interacting with the police.
Yeah, we really have a beautiful, let's say, country.
Yes.
And a town called Accra. Not the town though, but region called Accra.
That was the thing that surprised me. Accra is a really metropolitan city, I came here for the first time in 2016. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but I walked into Times Square. I was just, even some of what we've seen, when we went to the wedding, you remember?
Yeah.
It was something that I've seen in the Caribbean. It was just jubilation and celebration, and that wedding. How could you not love a Ghanaian ceremony, a traditional ceremony?
Yeah. Yeah, and the funny thing is, Accra is a small town within Ghana, and you think that the fact that you are in Accra, you've experienced all of Ghana, but then you have to also try Kumasi, the Brong-Ahafo region, and some other regions out there.
But you mentioned something. You said in Accra, everyone dresses pretty corporate, but in entrepreneur spaces, not so much. Like, talk to me about what it is to be an entrepreneur here.
Okay, so it's only recently, let me say about 5 to 6 or 7 years, that we have seen. Yeah, that's not recent though, but we've seen that a lot of startups within the tech space have sprung up, and that is as a result of individuals or groups who have made a deliberate effort to come up with co-working spaces that kind of
like open spaces.
Exactly, like
Right.
open space
Yeah.
and workspace as well, and who are trying to create that enabling environment for entrepreneurs. So we are at Impact Hub right now, and I'm telling you what is interesting about this space. So at this space, we have a lot of companies or startups that come here to still work on their work. You know, we all have to grind, and so what happens here is that the space offers you the luxury of having internet connection for you to be able to connect with other startups or other individuals who are also grinding just as you are. So you get that kind of motivation to always do what you have to do. And here we have tech startups, we also have agripreneurs, we have fintechs, we have diverse cultures. So we have people who also come in as walk-ins to have a feel of the space. So when you come to Ghana, it will be a great experience for you to come to Impact Hub. This brings us to the end of the Birthright Africa Virtual Homecoming.
I mean, we had a dance battle. We were doing a lot. You know, we went to the Du Bois Center.
We went to the beach, Labadi Beach.
We went to the Nkrumah Memorial.
And yeah, we are still at the Nkrumah Memorial,
Yeah,
right?
Impact Hub. I mean,
Impact Hub,
we've
yeah.
done so much. We even had a little lesson for you guys out there, teaching you how to gua. So I'm KJ. I hope you enjoyed my new city.
And I'm Andrews. I hope you enjoyed my city.
And on
Thank you.
behalf of Birthright Africa, thank you.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, my name is Wala El Sheikh, and I am the Birthright Africa co-founder and CEO. And at Birthright, we are inspiring our youth and young adults of African descent, ages 13 to 30, to explore their cultural roots and legacy of innovation. Now that we are still in lockdown with the pandemic, we have pivoted to virtual programs like everyone else. And what you just saw was a virtual homecoming to Accra, Ghana, with our ambassadors, KJ and Andrews. We are so excited that they are actually coming to us live from Accra, Ghana, and we're about to have a fantastic conversation with them about what you just saw in this immersive Pan-African journey. And so I'd love to bring up Andrews and KJ now. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How is it going over there?
Hello.
Hello. Akwaba.
Medase.
It's really hot over here.
Medase.
I miss y'all so
Yeah.
much. For those who don't know, I was just in Ghana for about a month, and it was one of the best months of my life. We're at the end of December going into January. And so I'm thrilled to reunite and have Andrews and KJ share who they are, their lives in Ghana, and why these connections are so important. So with that, I'd love to start off and ask either one of you, feel free to jump in. Just to introduce yourself, who you are, where you identify in the African diaspora, how you learned about the Birthright Tribe, and what you're up to in your own legacy of innovation, as we call it here, the aspiration in your own entrepreneurship and leadership. Andrews, let's start with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I say we should start with KJ? Just a little bit.
Say again.
Okay,
Please.
that's cool. Hi, everybody. out
Ladies
there.
first. Ladies first.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Of course, so polite, so gentleman, like a Canadian.
No pressure. Well, it's so good to be with everyone today across the globe. Everyone who's watching virtually, thank you for tuning in. My name is KJ. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I sort of dabble back and forth and was going to Ghana so frequently that I said, well, let me just, get a place here, which I've sort of hunkered down through quarantine and have actually had a great experience being here in Ghana. So might not ever be back. I identify as a Black woman, as holistic as that term can be. I have ancestry from the Caribbean and from the South. And I was raised amongst a group of Latinx folks who identify as Afro-Latinx. So I kind of represent the whole thing and now living here. And I actually met while on the continent. Our running joke is that we've never hung out stateside, and I don't think we ever will. So we're always going to meet on the continent. That's the new wave of travel. That's the new wave of living. And so when I met Walla, just around that same time, I had recently lost my mom and was trying to identify like a scholarship program that I could have an impact in leaving her legacy by having kids from underprivileged backgrounds go to Ghana specifically for their ancestral awakening, if you will. And when I found out that's almost exactly what Walla was up to, not only as someone who's passionate and has this purpose, but who's devoted that passion and purpose into what she does for the nonprofit Birthright, it was just a natural connection. So that's how I became a Birthright ambassador and have met Andrews, who I will kick it over to now.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And my name is Andrews Latte. And I'll start from where I got to be part of the Birthright Africa team. So I'll say that I'm an ambassador now as a result of the connection that I had. So I'll say a very big thank you to Sydney Sam of Open Space because he connected me to Walla.
Yes,
I think I was there and then I got a call from him. Yeah. So I was there and I got a WhatsApp text from him that, I have a project coming up and then a friend of mine wants you to help her on the project. And then I think you'll be the best fit for this. And I said, okay, why not? So Walla reached out to me. And then that was where we had a conversation about the first event that we had online, where I shared my experience as a young entrepreneur and student. And then it has been a great experience afterwards. So that is where I am right now, that I'm a better ambassador. Although I haven't really gone through the bit like the team that is from the US, but then I really appreciate the fact that you guys identify me as an ambassador now. And I will say that I'm from I'm a Ga. So Ga is a tribe in Ghana, and we are in the southern part of Ghana, and we come from Accra. So as it is right now, I'm a Ga, and most of the exploration.
We're having a little bit of internet trouble with Andrews, but keep going.
We're in this. Yeah. So thank you all. So I look forward to further conversations in this session.
Thank you, KJ and Andrews. You guys really represent the future, this vision that we have for our scholars, that once they explore their cultural roots, that legacy of innovation, having that connection, that pride and confidence about their heritage, it really sets them up on a path to do the work that you guys are doing right now. And so thank you just for being an example. And it's it's wonderful to really showcase how being on the continent is a place where you can be creative, innovative, and aspire. It doesn't necessarily have to be the US, right? And so at the same time, we're drawing inspiration from all areas of where we've been impacting. And I want those in the US side to know that we explore in the US first because we've made our contributions here, but they are not limited. As we are celebrating our theme, hashtag Black History begins in Africa. And so let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about this virtual homecoming that we were able to engage you guys in. And I would love of you to share a personal highlight of your experience shooting the video and where you have some of your favorite experiences in Accra. And if you could finish the sentence, you haven't experienced Accra if you haven't X.
All right, I'm on the spot.
Hello?
Ladies first.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think in keeping with hashtag Black History Begins with Africa, you know, we're in Black History Month. This is our last day of Black History Month. It's my favorite month because it is the sort of time where the contributions that Black Americans have made, not only to the United States, but more globally, are recognized. And even though we should be doing that year round, and even though amongst ourselves we have to do it every day, the fact that we are dedicating a month and highlighting these incredible human beings, such as W.E.B. Du Bois, and this sort of gets to my next point. But it really makes me feel such a great sense of pride and strength. And that's what I hope that the youth who are ages 13 to 30 who do get to do either virtual programs or eventually when we go back to in-person programs, that they feel that. And I mentioned W.E.B. Du Bois, and I'm specific in mentioning him because I kind of got the connection in the video and shooting it and then thinking about it after, like, wow, African Americans, Black people from the United States have been integral in movements such as the civil rights that have then inspired movements such as the Pan-African movement that have led to things that have been so great, including like being in touch with someone who eventually becomes the first president of Ghana, who actually liberates the whole country. We have to remember that sort of connection and that dialogue has been happening for a long time. And so where we now in this generation can participate, be on the continent, be connected virtually, whatever we're doing has to be to uplift the motherland, to uplift the diaspora. And now we have just such a great opportunity to do that and realize some of the dreams, not only that Kwame Nkrumah had for Ghana, but that W.E.B. Du Bois had for our people. And just to connect you haven't been to Ghana unless, and also for W.E.B. Du Bois, many people don't realize he lived here. He lived and died here.
Yeah.
He and his whole family, like in his late age, came to come, live, rest, retire. He has all of his original manuscripts and books here in Ghana. And so I would say that you haven't experienced Accra until you've been invited to someone's home. Now, the person who invited Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois versus the person who invited me may be very different, but it is one of the most welcoming environments. The people are great. The food, the culture, the language, everything. But as much as it's fun to go out partying and see like, oh my goodness, this is this whole new way of living that's almost similar to any city, anywhere. When you get invited to someone's house, take the opportunity. It will be the best experience ever. So that's what I definitely encourage everyone to do. And right now you're in my home. So for those of you who virtually want to stay connected, or if you happen to come visit, Walla, you've stayed at my home. So now You're all welcome to come to my Accra home.
And it is so true. Like the African culture, and I'm from Sudan by origin, I can personally attest to this desire to host and really just welcome everyone in. Speaking of welcoming, Andrews is from Ghana itself, so he just represents that spirit as well. I feel like every Ghanaian person I've ever experienced just like makes me feel I'm from there. I can connect to them at a professional level, personal level. So tell us what do you have the question, I believe, right? Do you need me to repeat it? What was your
Yes,
favorite
I
part
have
of
the question. So,
yeah.
for me, it was when we went to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Center. So every time I go back there, you know, I would have said the W. Du Bois Center, but then Kwame Nkrumah had something that he did for us Ghanaians. Hello, can you hear me? Sorry. Yeah, so there's something about what he did for Ghana that really inspires me. That he actually fought for our independence, right? And I feel like it's the same story that happened with, let's say, African American in the diaspora or everyone in the diaspora. Because one, wherever they found themselves, they also fought for their independence, and that story still relates to now, right? So if we have been able to do it in Africa, then it means out there, if other people are doing it, it took them a great effort because they're in a foreign land, right? So I was so inspired to actually talk when I went to that to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Center because it shows what we also did inland, and that will inspire others to also fight for what they have out there. Thank you.
Okay, so finish the
Yeah.
sentence. You haven't visited Accra unless you've experienced what?
For me, I'll talk
Andrews?
about the food part, right?
Yes.
So, if you haven't experienced the wache, banku, the fufu, and those things, because those are really like very interesting. They're nice, delicious, different flavors, spicy. One thing I say is, I think we know what spicy is. The other spicy that sometimes other members from the diaspora talk about is not so spicy. So you should experience how spicy our food tastes. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've been to Ghana several times. Last December was my fourth. And you feel like you rediscover food that you didn't realize that you loved. And for me, that was red. And there's something about the combination of black-eyed peas and plantains. Yes, y'all. If you didn't know, now you know, right? Like it comes from the motherland. We're eating black-eyed peas in America and plantains in the Caribbean
Mm-hmm.
because we're African descended people who just brought it over. And the combination of that sweet and salty, just like, whoo, Karen knows. I was like, where's the red? I want red every other day. So let's talk about this theme of Black History Begins in Africa. How does that ring true for you?
I'm taking this one first. Not because I'm the lady, but because I'm from the States. And I think Black History Month has an American lens, and it tends to center around Black accomplishments in the context of what it means to be a Black American. But Black History Begins with Africa sort of broadens that for me. It expands upon it for me. And it certainly celebrates, the Madam C.J. Walkers, who were millionaires for making their first own self-made business and inventing things like a pressing comb. It certainly celebrates people who you probably would never know the behind the scenes of who made the feminine pad, right? Who made it possible for us to go to the moon. These are all the figures in African American history or Black history that we hear about this month in particular, but we really don't realize that there's been so much contribution, and it's going this way. It's mutual, right? So the ways that we've been influenced by just holding on and holding tight to our African heritage, or cleaving to redefining that African heritage, to having people like Marcus Garvey who say, you know what, let's leave, or people like when I was deciding to move here, one of the main reasons that I said that I would do it was because I figured that there was some place in my mind that I was like this Pan-African person and it was going to help me be more creative. And I read that actually Maya Angelou had lived here for 3 years. And I was like, wait a minute, has this been going on a very long time? So it just broadens it for me that our definition is way before slavery.
Mhm.
Our strength and contributions have been more than just what we've given to a country that sometimes doesn't love us. And that the connection and the two-way street is always there. We have a home as long as we have a continent.
Absolutely. I could not even agree more. What's really been amazing for us as Birthright Africa, when our youth and young adults go to the continent, it's such a surprise and an awe that we still have these kings and queens, and this, the history you learn of the great civilizations before the devastation of enslavement and colonization came about. And off of one trip, even at the high school level, we have young people realizing, oh, I can actually live and work here. This is very viable for me. And so we're thrilled that you get to be a demonstration of that even now, KJ, and helping others see that it's possible for them.
Yeah, and I want to just expand upon that one quick thing before we go to Andrew's, is that what kind of changed in my mind and what I hope will change in the mind of the scholars who are seeing this or who get their own birthright experience is that it is a paradigm shift to think of your life on the continent, to know that you don't have to be in a space where your narrative starts with struggle, your narrative starts with slavery, and even your present day is not met with respect. Like the government of Ghana last year had mentioned, if you're not safe and you don't want to be subjected to the ills of racism, you don't have to.
Yeah.
And everywhere you go on the continent, whether it's Ghana or, in the north, the south, the east, the west, you will be amongst people who don't look at you differently because of your skin color.
Yeah.
Now, there are other social ills, right? And I want to caution against painting it out to be a utopia, but you don't have to deal with racism. You just don't.
Yeah. That double consciousness that W.E.B. Du Bois describes so perfectly is just like, it just goes away. Like, you don't have to worry that your Blackness is a thing, because it's just not a thing. Andrews, who's been living this, I think, all of his life. Have you actually left Ghana at all before we jump into you answering this question?
No.
He said that so emphatically. No.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
I haven't.
Tell us what Black history begins with Africa. In Africa, how does that ring for you?
Yeah, so I actually didn't know anything about Black History Month, but then later on, due to friends and family that I have in the diaspora, I've been able to hear a lot about what is happening about Black History Month and all of that, right? And what I have seen over the years that I've interacted with friends and family in the diaspora is the fact that, we've been in a foreign land, right? Now, let's say I wasn't there though, but then I haven't been there yet. And I don't know what the experience is like, especially with racism, because whilst I'm here, everyone accepts me the way I am. But then you guys are fighting a different battle, right? Every day, every time. And sometimes I know that there are things that we do that doesn't come out there. But then there are so many things that we are doing as Black Africans, like, let's say, Black people. And I wouldn't feel good if I was in a situation whereby I contributed to something, maybe independence or a great innovation or maybe some great movements, and then someone is trying to stifle my contribution. You get a point, and making it look like it's them that they are doing it. So I actually feel that way when my friends and family are talking about it. And that is how I relate with this particular situation. And it truly begins from Africa because, we all went to a land that we all didn't know. But look at how great we are making it out there. And if what we do are not recognized, so
that's the story of that's the whole point of Birthright and the whole point of studying history, because you start to realize all these contributions that Black folks around the world have made, and a lot of it begins in Africa. So, you just kind of just are in shock and in awe that the system has really perpetuated these narratives that we're not contributing. And
Exactly.
and we reverse that for ourselves first and foremost. And there's a lot of great movement right now, recognizing that Black history is just being told from this one negative deficit narrative. And we need to discuss leaders and not just political, but actual creators and innovators. But we're just starting to understand that. And we're proud that that's going to be our work, essentially working with our education partners, high schools, colleges, community-based organizations. That's how we literally deliver on this birthright experience. And so if you are part of one of those types of organizations, also reach out to us and I will give out info later.
And that is why I'm proud to be an ambassador for Birthright Africa.
Thank you
Just
so
because
much. Now,
you support that, yeah.
Can we at least have you visit the US? Like, we just want to give you
I'll be coming there.
What diaspora feels
soon.
like.
Next to me. Exactly. Just wait for me. I'll be there soon. Yeah.
And we will host you. You'll be welcome. We'll try our best to shield you from the ills of US society. But maybe that is also what the experience needs to be, so you understand what we're dealing with. All right, so let's go into some more personal reflections. Andrews, let's stick with you, right? So we take this position that Black history begins with Africa, but also that Black history continues with Africa. How are you as a Ghanaian then seizing those opportunities to lead, to develop relationships, to really help shift the direction and the progress of your continent and include the diaspora as it's also shifting and evolving to want to connect?
Yeah, there is one thing I've never stopped doing. And that is with collaborating, sharing knowledge, and then building from that point onwards. And this is something that I have really appreciated, and that is why I connect with a lot of people in the diaspora, so that we can actually build that back to Africa, reconnecting with other members from the team, from the diaspora, and then working together towards a common vision of making Africa great as we've always been is also something that I really do. So just as I'm also collaborating with Birthright Africa and all the members I also belong to other groups like the diaspora and other various groups, so that we can all bring our minds together to change or improve and grow areas in technology or technological ecosystem as well. So now what I'll say I'm doing to lead a change is to collaborate with people and we work on things. So right from co-working spaces to education. I'll mention some names. So for example, like Kumasi Hive, Impact Hub, iSpace. Those are co-working spaces that I have been on board to actually push the agenda of we collaborating to improve the startup ecosystem within the country. And then also with education, so I'm a co-director on the Girls Education Initiative of Ghana as well. So with that, we support applicants and girls with special needs, and we provide them academic funding as well. So like I put myself out there to make sure that Africa that we want to build or that we are building also remains on full charge. And
fantastic. Yeah.
That's why I'm here with Birthright Africa, to also make sure that we advance the gospel.
So you're in and out a little bit, Andrews. I'm just going to take over and affirm what you're saying.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's another one of those surprises when folks land, our scholars land, and besides the cultural connections that they make around food, music, language, mannerisms. Oh, so-and-so looks like my cousin or my aunt. Right. Yep. You're going to definitely feel those kind of resemblances. There's this, business, innovative, technological side to the continent that just was not in the consciousness because we're not seeing it through the media. We're not learning about it in the schools. And so you get to experience that Africans are solving their own African problems. There isn't this need for aid. And instead, to your point, it's about how do we collaborate and how do we actually learn from you guys? Because there's some innovations that we haven't even adopted. So I'm just thrilled for you to be our ambassador to continue to champion that and bring on others into the program for our scholars to meet. So I'll bring up KJ.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And KJ, if you could talk to us now on the other side of it, being in the diaspora, how is it that, you see the evolution and the connections as you work towards this future? What has sort of caught you either by surprise, or what has it been like for you as you've relocated to be in this work?
Well, first, I just want to say something about what Andrew's mentioned as far as innovations and where there are places where they're leaps and bounds ahead of us. I think the U.S. needs Momo, like stat. So everywhere you go, you could pay with your phone. I mean, I know we have Apple Pay and Venmo, but Momo is like pretty much the way that people, it's mobile money. And
right,
it's the
you
way
pay each other
people,
by phone number. So I can like send you money
number.
through your phone number.
Why have a bank account when you could have Momo?
Right.
And I can't wait for that to come really to fruition everywhere broadly.
Yeah.
So in just getting back to what you're asking about evolution and being here and what I see as the sort of future of Black history, if you will, or the future Black futures. I've just been surprised that there's like so much desire to be connected, right? That from my vantage point, a lot of my identity and soul searching to find out who I was as a Black person was always convoluted, always confused, always muddled with different messages that either said that we were kings and queens or said that we were slaves or, anything in between. So trying to find where you land in the world and where you belong in the world, and then finally arriving at that place where not only do you belong, but someone wants to work with you, someone wants to collaborate and say, yeah, you know what? One thing about Ghana that we don't have is great urban planning. So we do want to sit down and talk to someone who has that as a background and say, how should we lay out this new area? One thing that I've really been excited by is like the policy level of things, because the Ghanaian government and many other private sector Ghanaian companies are really looking at how we can work together. They want to incentivize us coming home. They have things and programs such as the Year of Return, Beyond the Year of Return, but that's rooted in a desire and a sincerity for us to be one and the same, for us to come together. So how that will shape our future is really limitless, right? It's Africa's time to rise. And we don't, as Black Americans, we don't have to live under the pretenses that we're not enough. We're more than enough. And so if we decide that we want to build stronger, that we want to love up on each other, I mean, it's nothing here to see Black people loving each other. And that is the secret ingredient that I think will elevate us further. And we get to design it. We get to create it. We get to manifest it. We get to say, this is what we want to see, and then make it happen.
Absolutely. It's that, what one of our alumni, Shayna, reflected on so well. We had a live presentation for some of our supporters on Wednesday, and this, coming home to the motherland really freed her heart and her mind to see that the possibilities are limitless. And in a diaspora setting in the US, the UK, wherever you may be, you tend to feel that kind of limitlessness. I mean, you tend to feel the limit of who you can be based on your descent. But going to the motherland is about feeling it there, right? Because it's just so affirmed, but bringing that feeling back. Because at the end of the day, you can still succeed here. You just have to cocoon yourself with a community of support and find folks.
In the States, I spent a lot of my energy like proving that I was brilliant as opposed to just being brilliant.
Yes.
And our scholars, I mean, the people that we engage in Birthright Africa who desire to come and see this for themselves, ages 13 to 30, I mean, these are honor students. These are change makers. These are community, what do they call them? Organizers, community organizers, people who run nonprofits. And the people on the business side, or the like more adult chaperones who are doing this fundraising, I mean, we're well connected, doctors, lawyers, you name it, running our own businesses, but we still wonder if we're good enough.
Yeah.
Then you get someplace and you're just enough by
You're
default.
just enough.
So
Yeah.
then you can design whatever you want. And my desire is to design just that we have rest here, that we can just come and lay our burdens down, just live, just come to the beach,
Ooh.
just kick it,
You
just
could
enjoy that plantain.
You could just be. And to that point, that's why I was there for a month, right? Like, I now know I don't have to prove my brilliance. Luckily, with the Birthright Africa ecosystem and just this whole community, the Birthright Tribe, I don't have to prove the brilliance, but I need my rest. I need the breaks from the intensity of just life in the diaspora, right? And the constant sort of outside of the Birthright community, I am reminded that there's still these gaps of perceptions. And it just reminds me that I can go home to the motherland and just be. Just be. There's nothing more than just being myself. Coming home to the motherland is like coming home to yourself, is what I'm starting to really pick up on. And we just want everyone to have that experience. That's really at the end of the day what it is about. We can take some questions if anyone has any. Otherwise, I'd love to just bring Karen and Andrews back up. We have a few minutes before we close out and have you guys share any last minute thoughts, reflections. I know for me, this has been really amazing. It's our first YouTube live. We're going to do so many more of these, and cannot wait for our scholars themselves actually to be on and driving the virtual programming, as well as, getting to go to the continent itself. So I see a question here from Theodore and Tem. Could you throw more light on the love-hate relationship between continental Africans and African Americans who reside in the States? Would you say it's a deterrent to African Americans moving here? And I would say here probably is the continent. So I'll have KJ take that, because she is the poster poster adult, I guess, now for what this this question is asking. Take it away.
Yes, thank you, Theodore. Thank you for asking that, and I'm glad to take this on. So one of the things that we, not in this particular program, but we have done in other panels and platforms, is just getting to the root at where we have to acknowledge the elephant in the room, that there is a disconnect, and there has been a way in which we haven't always played nice or talked to each other nicely, that some continental Africans have come to the West, or come to specifically the States, and felt the most ostracized, or the most teased, or the most unwelcome from Black Americans, and vice versa. Coming here, I had never, ever even thought of myself as a white person. And I'm like, what does Obroni mean? Like, what are they calling me that for? Couldn't get past it, didn't understand it. And certainly if you let anything negative or anything that's a stereotype stand in the way between our real connection, you will find that people will feel like there's a deterrent to living here. But kind of throwing that into the little box that it deserves, like the little box, it's just some ways in which the whole entire construction of white supremacy has worked and tried to teach us that we're so different. And so as we deconstruct it and put it in a little box, and then say we're putting that little box in the corner, and we just choose to love upon each other, we will start to speak nicer to one another and not speak past one another. And I think that, particularly as someone who is African American, I just had to realize how much of an unlearning I needed to do. That nothing I learned on books that I was learning in school, and nothing that I learned on the media was actually teaching me the accurate truth about Africa or my own identity and participation in it. So, yeah,
There it is. Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about education and re-education, because as the father of Black History Month told us, Carter G. Woodson, we've had a miseducation of the Negro, right? So when you understand, and it's also been intentional to separate and divide us. I can speak as a continental African. When I arrived at the age of 11, I had no qualms about where I was from in terms of like my African heritage and being categorized now in this new country as Black. So you also have to remember, we don't come in here to the U.S. and the diaspora with a consciousness around race. We come in with our country. And so now this category of Black is coming on, and depending on what age you've arrived, I came in at 11. Being Black was fun. It was about Michael Jackson. It was about the Cosby Show. It was about the different world. It was about like all these great celebrations and entertainments. And in the 90s, for me, it was like hip hop and R&B is about to like it's starting to blow up to be mainstream. But then you grow up and you kind of get into your professional life and you realize like, there's a stigma. And so do I want to really associate with this category? Or what is it about this category that I'm being, as a continental African, it's just based on my skin color? So you have the gaps of immigrants who came here as land to the US as this land of opportunity, this place of education to aspire and make it just like everyone else. But then you recognize, oh, wait, no, you're not going to make it just like your white counterparts. And so there's a disassociation that sort of happens by way of protection, by way of aspiration. Now that is a miseducation because there ain't nothing wrong about our Blackness, but you have to come to that understanding. You have to do the unlearning and what you've seen in the news about who's getting arrested and what's, who's a threat in society. We as Black immigrants need to re-educate ourselves. And the biggest education is we're in this country only because of Black Americans who fought for civil rights, who got the bills in place that even had us thinking America was an opportunity for us. Because prior to then, nobody was coming here willingly. Who's going to come and deal with Jim Crow and segregation? So until we recognize as continental Africans the contributions of our Black and Black brothers and sisters in the US who actually fought for their rights that helped us gain an opportunity, that kind of awareness and consciousness is where we need to go. And we're proud to be a part of that as Birthright Africa. Really great question. I see a few more coming in. Let's see which one we're going to go with next. I see a quick one on virtual explorations. I can answer that. We're definitely going to try to go to more countries and have ambassadors there showcasing and highlighting. As far as Vites on planning a trip to the motherland, that isn't something we necessarily do on a one-on-one basis because we engage our education partners to build programs. But reach out to us at info@birthrightatafrica.org. And what we could do is put you in touch with those types of travel partners that are on the ground in the continent that we work with. All righty, what else do we have here? When my children become of age, how can they apply to be one of the participants of Birthright? What does it all entail? How would you?
I want to answer this.
Sure. How much should we save up? What should they expect? Well, first of all, it's free. So I'll start with that.
It's free. Shouty, it's free.
Thank you, Rocky, for that question. Go ahead, KJ. What do you want? As a future partner, education partner, explain the model. Let's see if you've done your homework.
I don't know about all that. I was just gonna answer that it was free, but but there's a key component to why I'm saying that first, right?
Please,
yes. Because there are a lot of communities, particularly minority communities, that feel very connected to where they're from, and it is an ancestral birthright, and it isn't this whole like, how much can I save and how much can I do? It's just a second nature. Of course, I'm Jewish, and my identity after I'm of age, I will go to Israel. And so this is like just a much bigger component and piece of what we're trying to do for every single person 13 to 30 who is from diaspora, however you define that. You could be from anywhere. For now, we're starting with the US, and the exploration will be centered to Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, Mali. Did I do that? Did I say that? Come on, Walla. Is that right?
It's Rwanda, but we're open
Rwanda.
to any
Okay,
African nation.
Rwanda. We got a couple of countries that we're going to expand into, but the point being that it is no burden of lift on your part as the parent or as the child to try and meet that high level of funding for the trip. It's your birthright.
Yes. I will add, okay, so let me get into the technical way we do this. The reason why it can be free for your scholar child as they come of age. Now, as a parent, we're happy for you to help with donating and sponsoring. It's free for the young person that's ages 13 to 30, but we're more than happy to work with you as a parent sponsor, parent donor. The way we drive the programs is through our education partners. So whatever high school, college, or community-based organization they are engaged in their community or when they get to those ages of schooling, we invite those organizations, those education partners, to build out a Birthright program in-house with our technical support and guidance on a model that fits within our mission. And they raise the funding, 50% of the program costs. We match the other 50%. So it's a true collaborative effort around this commitment we have. We have a real commitment that every youth and young adult of African descent, ages 13 to 30, grows up knowing this birthright experience is waiting for them, regardless of their background in terms of educational attainment. We don't need you to be the star academic. You may have dealt with juvenile, detention issues. You may be coming out of really traumatic situations. It's just based on your age and your identification as an African descended young person seeking this affirmation of who you are, having a pride and a confidence and a creativity going forward into your future. In that principle of Sankofa, to know where you're going, you have to know where you come from. And so she said, Rocky's asking if they're homeschooled. Yes, if they're homeschooled. When I tell you, it's literally just the age and their identity. I don't care if you're homeless on the street. We don't care if it's a birthright. I know it's so hard for us sometimes as Black people to believe like, this is free. We could do this. Like, yes, we are that committed that any walk of life. Rocky's really going for it. Would a parent be a chaperone? We try to actually avoid that because we want the young person to really experience this on their own. But if you are a parent who works at the organization, then that may be a different story. So reach out to us. I think this is a great time for us to actually close. And I want to thank at Black Facts. It turns out they have a following of 100,000 and would love to feature more of our voices. And so we would love to take that opportunity. At this time, I want to first thank KJ and Andrews. Thank you so much for being a part of this, the Birthright Tribe. I always know, like, now Ghana is officially my second home. Anytime I land, I am taken care of. The last time KJ literally met me at the airport with my chicken and rice. Like, you hungry? Good. You're good. Andrews, please give our regards to Sydney, Sam, who connected us from Open Space. We love him and we'll continue to partner and work with him. And until next time, I will just tell folks, you just, got a taste of Birthright Africa virtual programming. There is so much more to come. We are just beginning with this being our first YouTube Live. To see the upcoming schedule, please visit us at www.birthrightatafrica.org and see the link to the virtual exploration calendar on the Scholars tab. Until next time, we thank you for joining us. And if you would like to support Birthright Africa, I think we're going to bring up our donation link now. It is www.birthright.africa.org/donate. So please consider supporting us. This is how we can continue to bring you more virtual programming while we wait for safer conditions to travel. And generally speaking, don't hesitate to connect with us through our email, info@birthrightatafrica.org. Thank you so much. Medase. Medase, thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm Jones. Can you guys hear that? Yeah? Medase Afua. Yay. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Geo26.
Go ahead, Andrews.
Did it.
Yeah, that was actually really fun dancing.
Bye-bye.